With over 100,000 DVDs to choose from, including classics, new releases, and TV series, there has never been a better time to join Netflix. Visit netflix.com/labrats for a free 2-week trial. Plans start at $4.99 a month. You keep each movie as long as you want, and there are never any late fees. Cancel anytime, plus watch movies over the internet for no extra charge. Visit netflix.com/labrats.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
And I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, we're going to talk about mobile phones.
Yes.
Not just any mobile phone, but the mobile phone that is taking the world by storm right now.
The iPhone! The iPhone! Wait, didn't we already do an episode on the iPhone?
Yeah, we did. This is like the next one. iPhone 3. Oh, this is the new one.
iPhone 2.0.
It's prettier.
iPhone 3G.
It's faster. 3G. Wow, fun, huh? So, we just figured everybody's talking about it, and it's kind of improved, and
a couple other things. And well, what does 3G mean? We'll talk about that too.
Right.
Why not?
And I'm going to show you my new iPhone. I have a whole personal iPhone.
I can't wait.
It's true. All right, so stay tuned. Coming up on today's Lab Rats, iPhone 3G, 101, Demystified, whatever you want to call it.
In full color.
Right.
In 3D.
It's coming up next after this.
Whoop, whoop,
Wow.
whoop.
So, in predictable fashion, Apple has now reinvented another category of gadget, right? So first they reinvented the computer, and then they reinvented the MP3 player with the iPod, and now they've reinvented the smartphone with the iPhone.
Yes. I mean, you would think that this was the first phone of its type to ever be like this, but
no.
It's not. No, there's been a ton of different phones that actually allowed you to type on them, send email, do all these sorts of things.
Right.
From Palm and old Windows machines and the BlackBerry, there's been a ton of them.
Right.
But they didn't have the sex appeal of this new iPhone.
And here we go. So second time out, iPhone 3G, second version, now on the market. Everybody's lining up. It's crazy.
Yeah, we actually saw in San Francisco when we were down there for the Intel thing that we referred to a little while ago. It's just those lineups still at the door days after the official launch. And
We don't get it. At least I don't get it. You might get it.
a little bit. I understand wanting to have a product that badly, but not so badly that I'd bail out of work for a day and stand in line all day.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, do you want me to tell you my experience? I have a whole new...
yeah, tell us about your iPhone
So,
first.
okay, so before the iPhone came out, I'm like, oh, iPhone, and I'm not a big Apple fan, but wow, it's kind of cool, right? So I had a BlackBerry. So I took the BlackBerry and I gave it to my friend Cheryl, right? Which actually, check out her, she has a new podcast, HeyLady.tv, coming up soon. So she gets that, and I go to Berlin and to an HP event, and they give me an iPack Business Messenger, right? Which is kind of their take on the BlackBerry. Now, sadly, like this is kind of cool. It's got Windows Mobile 5 on it.
Yeah, that's been going for a number of years.
Yeah. And then it dies within about a couple of weeks. So I'm like, okay, now I have no smartphone. So here's my new iPhone. This is the one that I bought. Do you like that?
What is that?
It's a Motorola V551. I'm actually devolving my mobile experience. It's actually pretty good. So I'm back to this until I buy myself an iPhone or until Apple says, Andy, we love you, and we're sending you a freebie.
There you go. Well, you know what? We do have some beer somewhere else in our studio here. So maybe at the end of the episode, we'll do a beer test. Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. I love your iPhone, your version of the iPhone.
Do you like it? Very good. Now, that's not to say that I won't really get a new iPhone 3G soon. I might just break and actually do it. Okay. But let's talk about it. Why should me, Andy, Apple somewhat disliker, get one of these guys?
Well, it was one of the interesting things about the whole iPhone generation and Apple in general when it comes to gadgets. It's just we know that for a long time you haven't been a huge fan of the Macintosh and the operating system and all of that. I mean, it's okay, but it's really not your thing. But the iPod sort of broke that thing down. So even if you don't like the operating system or the computers, this is a different thing. It's a consumer gadget. It's just beautifully designed. Both the original iPods and now these new iPhones. So you don't have to be an Apple fanboy to really love these things. They're just beautiful things to have in your hand.
And I got an iPod Touch, which is like the iPhone without the phone in it.
Yeah, it's
Loved
very
it.
similar.
Great.
You hold this,
Holding it here.
the Touch over here.
All right. There you
So,
go.
very similar.
Yes. And I do like that. So, okay. So iPhone 3G. So the original product was a little slow in terms of its data capabilities, and there was some flaws in it. So talk a bit about what it was and why it wasn't up to spec.
Okay, well, here's the first initial one. And in terms of it being not up to spec, I think there's a few things that are the biggest complaints about them. One of them that hasn't been fixed yet, and that is, if you notice on this one, it's a sealed case, essentially. There's no way to get into the battery compartment of this thing. Oops, and that hasn't been fixed. So we still have this issue with the new one.
Okay.
I have my Windows emulator running on here.
Blue screen to death.
Yeah.
Love it.
So there we go. So that was the first thing. But I think the thing that really irked people more than anything else was the speed of the data network. So they decided to go with the GSM standard, and that's so that it could be used in countries all around the world. Although there's a lot of CDMA phones here in North America where we are, outside of here, there's only a few territories that really make use of that.
So when Apple decided to deploy the iPhone, they said, okay, well, for universal availability, let's make it a GSM phone.
Yes, because there were GSM networks in the States as well.
Well, yeah. So in the States, it's AT&T now. In Canada, it's Rogers and Fido. Out there in Australia and other parts of the world, I'm not exactly sure who runs it, but there you go. Now on top of that is a data network, and so the first generation of fast data network was called GPRS, or General Packet Radio Service.
Yes.
Pretty slow, though, 128 kilobits per second, pretty much.
Yeah, it's very little better than the old school modem that you used to have on your computer.
Right. But then again, this is a data device. It's a smartphone, so you need a data network, and so that made sense.
Yeah.
So GPRS.
Yeah, that was the first time you said it evolved up to Edge, which
Edge,
is
right.
where they initially went with the first generation of the iPhone,
Right.
which was faster, a little bit more robust.
384 kilobits per second.
Right, which was still probably about half of the level of CDMA at the point when that was introduced.
Right.
So GPRS, although it had more widespread availability in the world, it was slower. And the fact that there was this new standard just on the horizon when the iPhone was launched, that was the reason people complained. It was something called 3G.
3G, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, and in fact, on the GSM world, it's something called, in the States, it's called HSDPA. And in Canada, we call it HSPA. HSPA, I think something like that.
High-speed packet access, was it?
Something like that. I don't know exactly. So, which is up to, I think it's HSPA is something like 7 to 16 megabits per second potentially.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a lot faster than it was before. So basically, when they introduced this new version of the phone, essentially they sped it up and made it available on the 3G network. So now something that would take a minute to download here might be just 10, 15 seconds on this one. So much faster. And when you're on the go, you want something really fast. You don't want to be sitting around waiting for a web page to load. You want it to be there instantly. Right. Especially when you're one of the features of the iPhone when they launched it was a lot of web-enabled applications, things that would talk to other servers out on the web. So like a map server, or say you could get a FedEx application,
or iTunes,
web all of these things. So. You want to be able to get these things very quickly. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting around and waiting, and it's not going to be a very useful experience.
Right.
So that was the big problem that people had with this first generation.
Right. So this new version, the iPhone 3G, supports a faster network.
Yeah.
The experience is faster.
Yep.
And perhaps that's now why it's doing quite well.
Yes, I think they set records for all those people standing in line and getting them on the first day.
Right.
And there was shortages almost instantly. Now, from a form factor perspective, is there much difference? Well, you'll notice that this first generation one had a metal backing plate, and this new one is more plastic. And it comes in either black or white, depending on what size you get. This one topped out at 8 gigabytes, had either 4 or 8 gigabytes of memory on board for storing your MP3s, your photographs, all of that other stuff. This one now will top out at 32. Or no, not 32,
16.
16.
Yeah.
16 now. The touch has gone up to 32.
Right.
So that's that. Again, no access to the battery compartment here. Still no external memory. It's that you can't actually bring in stuff or save it out to an external memory card like you can with a lot of other smartphones. They'll give you access to micro SD or mini SD or even a full-size SD card for saving data in and out of the phone.
Okay.
Again, not the case here.
Okay, so missing.
It's still missing, but they have decided that that's not the way that you should be interfacing with this phone. You basically sync this with the usual cable you use to sync your iPod,
Right.
essentially, and it comes with Bluetooth. And because it's a web-enabled device, you send a lot of that data back and forth
Right.
on the data network as well.
And Wi-Fi connectivity too, correct?
And Wi-Fi connectivity in both of them. So same connectivity in both of these.
Very good.
Same camera in both of these.
Okay. And 802.11g, right?
802.11g.
G.
Yeah.
So N, which is coming out in 2009, not yet.
Not yet for,
Okay,
for
good.
this size factor.
Right. Very good. Great. Okay. So beyond that, what would you say is the big features of the iPhone 3G?
Well, the one thing that people have been talking a lot about is the application store. So they announced this back in January, I believe, when they announced that this 3G phone was coming out. So they've changed the firmware on the phone. Now with the initial one, we hacked the original version of the iPhone to be able to run applications that were developed by third parties. And while Apple still hasn't allowed anyone to just put it on there, they have opened up a dev kit that will allow people that want to create an application for the iPhone to do so, and then they'll distribute it through the iTunes application
Oh, I see.
store. So Apple's still maintaining some control over that, and for vendors that are charging some money for this, Apple will get their cut of that. But there are still a number of applications that you can get for free.
For free. Okay, that's good. All right, good.
And you would go on to this, and we've got this thing right here called the App Store icon. And we would click on that. And if you're familiar with the cracked version of the iPhone and the iPod Touch, where you would actually click on the installer application and go looking for new applications, this one is remarkably similar, in fact. It looks almost identical in a lot of ways. So you would actually go into this and you can search for them. You can look at the featured applications and start loading them. And it takes a little bit of time because it's pulling this over the data network now.
Right.
So we can download South Park Imagination, something on the iScopes. And again, you interact with this new one the same way you did before by touch sensitivity. You can do the pinch and stretch on the applications that support that. But then to download something, here's one that's free, WordPress. So you would click on it and then scroll through that. It says up in this top corner here, it tells you the price. In this case, it says free. You would tap on that and it gives you the option to install. And you click install, and then you would type in the password for your iTunes subscription.
Right.
So if it's free, then it'll just validate that you're able to download. But if it costs money, it'll actually charge it to your iTunes account.
Right.
And then now that I've entered in my password, it's going off and getting it. And it's actually installing it down in this lower corner here.
Very cool.
So that's a real big advantage of this. And then the faster data network actually allows you to download these things over the data network instead of having to rely on Wi-Fi to do this.
Right. Got it. Wow. Okay. Any applications you've seen that's been like, wow, that's really great?
There is actually one application that, there's two. One of them is kind of fun, and the other one is actually kind of useful, and they're both music related. People may know that I'm a music fan, but we've got two on here. One of them is called Midomi, M-I-D-O-M-I, or Me-Do-Me, like the notes that are on there. So what you do is you click on it. You know how you go into the store and say, hey, you know that song that goes dot, 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 and the clerk will look sort of blankly at you. So now you don't have to embarrass yourself by doing that. You can actually go in and you can either type the name of the song in if you know what it is, but here's the real feature of it. You can actually click on sing here and then tap to sing or hum. So you tap on that and it'll start. And then when you're done done with your little bit, you click on that, and now it'll figure out kind of what you did there and send a hash out to this Midomi server.
That was ABBA's Dancing Queen, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And actually, you'll notice at the top, it actually did pick out Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. So,
oh my God, that's cool.
So
that is cool.
Yeah, but it's also giving you a few other alternatives here. So in case you're not 100% sure what it is, like you don't know what the song is, and you actually want to find out, it actually has a little listen icon here. So we can actually click on that beside there, and if we get it right,
Believe it.
oh. So it's a bit hard to do this backwards, but once you've done that, you can actually preview a little clip of it. And it comes up with a lot of strange junk sometimes when you think, you do like, let's see if this works today. Okay, so you would think that would be obvious to anybody in the whole world.
Yeah.
But I tried this once and it didn't get it. And see, here we go.
Nope.
It's not in there.
Nope.
And anybody that heard us doing that knew that we were doing I Can't Get No Satisfaction. You
Right.
knew that, right, Michael?
Oh, sorry, man. I thought it was ABBA again.
ABBA?
See, it's Mamma Mia.
It's suggesting Primera Morna by Pedro Guerra.
Well, there you go.
And it also is suggesting It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones, which is kind of close, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's also suggesting Because You Loved Me by Celine Dion. I mean, I don't understand how it creates some of those hashes sometimes, but sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's like so far to left field.
Does it do ABBA?
Let's find out. Sing.
Fine. I like this. I might just buy the iPhone just for this.
There you go. Okay, go.
Money, money, money. It must be funny in a rich man's world.
Okay. So. Now it's searching. So yeah, and you can sing, you can hum, you can do anything. Money, money, money. So there you go.
Unbelievable.
So there's another one called Shazam, which you can use to locate songs. And this one is actually really useful because you can actually click on it and say, tag this song, and it'll start listening. But it's not just listening to you humming. It's actually listening for the original material. So if you're listening to the radio somewhere and you're like, what the heck is this song? You can actually click this, record a little bit of it, it'll record a sample of it, and actually come back with what it is, as long as it's in the database.
What do these things cost? Are they free?
Those two are free. Those are absolutely free.
That's super fun. I really like that.
It's worthwhile noticing that with something like Midomi, it's a bit hit and miss, and the fun part about that one was our good friend Merlin Mann of the Merlin Show and 43 Folders and all of that. He's pals with guys in the band The Long Winters, and he actually met with one of the guys and had one of the guys from the singer from The Long Winters sing into Midomi, his own song.
Yeah.
Didn't match.
Oopsie.
So yeah, it's a bit hit and miss,
right?
Yeah.
And
And
that goes to show you, So that's the future. That is the future.
So you
it's
can.
amazing.
I haven't downloaded any ones that you pay for yet because I'm a bit cheap. But here's another one that's free. It's called Phone Saber, and it's kind of what you think it is. So you pick a. Let's see, how do we turn this on? Oh, there we go. Put it on your mark, and now it's a Phone Saber. So it's actually, we're gonna have to put it up here.
Oh, cool. Oh, it's using the Mercury switch.
It's using each of these iPhones, the old one and this new one, both have motion sensors, so it tells which direction it's pointed in and how you're moving it.
Phone Saber.
Phone Saber.
Love it.
So there's a lot of interesting things at the App Store already. Some of them which are free, and some of which are, you have to pay good money for. The Super Monkey Ball is one of the ones that you have to pay for. So, and when you're working with motion, the control can be a little bit odd sometimes. So it's not 100% perfect, but it's a tiny little computer. You said this before, and we'll say it again. This is a little computer in the palm of your hand.
It's going to be your laptop one day.
And it's actually a more powerful processor in here for gaming than the one found in the Sony PSP.
Wow.
So theoretically, this is a high-end gaming unit as well.
Got it.
And for those that are interested, yes, you can crack it. And you can unlock the SIM if you're in a country that doesn't have it. But the nice thing about this is they rolled it out in about 70 different countries around the world this time around instead of just a few, including Canada. Thank you so much.
Yay!
I'm not a big fan of the data plan.
No, boo Rogers, boo.
Even at the lower rates.
Yeah, I know. They're jerks.
But,
Anyway,
but thankfully it's here now.
good. All right, well, let's take a break. And when we come back, I have one other thought about the iPhone. And then let's...
Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
And then we will have pictures.
Yay.
Picture time. All right, that's after this. So there is actually one little feature you forgot to mention.
Yes, and I think I know which one it is.
Which one is it?
The GPS.
There you go. Yeah, global positioning system, right? It allows you to find where you are on the world and use it with Google Maps. Very cool. So you don't get a GPS device separately. Now it's built into your iPhone with Google Maps, which is very cool.
Yeah, so we'll just put this on the mark again. We're not going to turn it on, so we don't want you all coming over to Andy's house.
No.
But you just go into the Maps application on here, and it'll actually find out where, it'll load up your city. And then there's this little track button down in the corner here that you just click it, and what it'll start doing is start searching for local beacons. It'll look for satellites, it'll look for transmission towers, it'll look for wireless networks in the area, all of that sort of thing. So even if you can't see the sky, it can still kind of pinpoint you in a lot of circumstances.
Cool.
But you can actually turn this on, and the thing that I liked about this is you can actually have it inside your car without a clear view of the sky like you need with a lot of GPS devices. You actually have to have them in the window with an antenna sticking out the front. This one you can actually have it further in the thing, and it can actually track you as you drive down the street.
Cool.
So very good.
Fun. There you go. Battery life good?
Battery life is one of the problems I think people are continuing to complain about. Battery life wasn't great on the first one, and it's gone down a little bit on this one.
More powerful device, right?
It's a more powerful device, yes. And so we had, you saw when we were seeing the lineup in San Francisco, someone yelling from across the street, "Suckers! 4 hours battery life!"
I think I knew who that was, too.
Yeah.
A friend of mine.
I think you probably do. But
It wasn't me, though.
yeah, so it takes up more battery power than before, but conserve as necessary. Turn off your wireless, your Wi-Fi when you can, and all that other good stuff.
Cool.
And a lot of people have complained that it is more buggy than the previous version. So they've rolled out the 2.0 software, which introduced the application store and all that. So it's a new revision of the operating system. So there's going to be a few bugs which are going to work out. So some people aren't too happy about it.
One final thought before we move on to picture time. Excellent. What I really like about this is a really good cat scratcher.
Yeah. But the old one was too, kind of.
That's true.
And it had sharper edges. So.
That's true. Biffer likes this. All right. All right, let's move on to picture time.
Yes,
like
please.
The Biffer? All right.
Oh, so yes, in our ongoing series of people's desktop configurations.
Cool.
We
Pimp
have-
your desktop,
We have a
kids.
Pimp Your Desktop from our viewer Patrick, who's in
He
Seattle.
really worked hard at composing this so it's pretty. Look at how Blade Runner it is.
It is.
Wow. Good job, Patrick from Seattle.
There you go, and Lab Rat's over here on the screen.
Yeah,
on
even
the
better.
big screen.
We like that.
There you
Good
go.
stuff. All right.
And now we have Thomas, who's in Germany, and his girlfriend.
At a bowling alley, no? At a disco.
At a disco or a pub or something like that.
Cool.
And it looks like he's used this photo for some other application at some point in the past. Or maybe he's just promoting his website.
What is he? So let's promote it for him.
Bilderdernacht.de.
Oh, wow. Exciting. There you go.
Photos of the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Very good. I didn't know you spoke German.
I'll do a translation and make sure that I got that right.
That's
I don't
right.
know, maybe we're talking about something that's maybe not so Lab Rats friendly. But anyways.
What's his girlfriend's name, do we
know? He didn't say.
Okay.
So anyways, it will make sense. Night photos.
Night
photos
photos.
taken at clubs.
Yeah.
So there we go.
.de in Germany.
.de.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas, and pretty girlfriend. That's it for us. Don't forget to send your pictures to
feedback at labrats.tv.
See the other fabulous episodes of Lab Rats at.
Labrats.tv.
And don't forget, you can get the latest, hottest cat scratcher at
apple.com/iPhone.
/iPhone. With unlimited data plans if you live in America. All right, that's it for us. Thank you for downloading today. Thank you for pushing play. My name is Andy Walker. That's Biff. And that's Sean. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Are you ready?
Biffy, cat massage. Let's see which one's best.
I think that one has sharper edges.
The Biff Biff. The Biff Biff. Oops.
Boykin. Who is Cuddles? And why is he hanging out with Booger?